One time when I was going through a divorce and I could not stop crying, this was quite a few years ago. I was on the floor in my kitchen, could not get up because I was weeping so hard and I had to go to work. And the nutritionist on my shoulder, the observer of my mind and spirit, said, Anasuya, you know those supplements. And I took just a couple of them. Within 20 minutes, I was able to function, get to work. And even though I wasn't incredibly happy, I was functional again. And it made all the difference to me. So I can't wait to share this information with you. Let's talk about nutrition for balanced moods. Now, this is part two, where I'm going to focus on supplements. I already did one on foods, and I'll put the link in the description. Let's focus on food first. That's what that first video was about in this series. For the best health, get most of your nutrients from food. Because when you have a diet that's low in nutrients, then when you supplement, you are more likely to create imbalances than if you already have a foundationally good diet. The only time where food first does not work is when people are too depressed, too anxious, too irritable, too exhausted to eat. And that's when supplements first is just fine. Let's talk about the pluses and minuses, the pros and the cons. The biggest negative thing to me is that they're boring to take. And often you don't notice anything for several weeks. With a few exceptions, some of the things I'll share with you today, you do feel fairly quickly. The other thing is they might be expensive. And that's why it's good to have some good basic ideas that will help in your research to know what supplements might be right for you. And of course, you might experience significant benefits and you're less likely to need drugs and surgery. Supplements are generally safer than most pharmaceuticals and they have fewer side effects. And the thing that I like the most is that they give you a sense of greater control over your health. If you do nothing else but take a good quality B complex, that would be great. First of all, a B complex will support better energy production. You have mitochondria, which are energy generators in all of your cells, and they depend on B vitamins to transform food into energy. B1, thiamine, B2, riboflavin, B3, niacin, B5, pantothenic acid, B7, biotin. So without adequate B vitamins, the mitochondria struggle and you struggle. You have fatigue, low moods, and brain fog. Another area where a B complex can be very helpful is that it helps you create neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are the chemical messengers that help you experience emotions. Vitamin B6, pyridoxine, is a key cofactor in the creation of mood-related neurotransmitters. Now, in the previous video on food, I said one of the most foundational things you can do for better moods is to eat adequate protein. And I explained in that video what adequate means. Proteins are made out of amino acids. And then when you have amino acids and you combine them with B6, you can then create serotonin, which helps you feel calm and contented. Serotonin also helps with self-esteem. Dopamine helps you feel more motivated. It's a bit energizing. You have a little bit more sense of pleasure. And GABA helps you feel more relaxed and at ease. If you have tight shoulders, tight muscles around your neck and shoulders, you probably have low GABA, or at least that would be an area to explore. B complex and stress management. B5, or pantothenic acid, in that B complex supports your adrenal function. It's needed to make the cortisol that helps your body respond to stress. Vitamin B12 supports nerve repair, brain function, and the production of red blood cells that carry oxygen to the brain. We want the form of B12 to be methylcobalamin. That is more easily assimilated by almost everybody. Low B12 can contribute to brain fog, fatigue, depressed mood, and then folate in the form methylfolate. It supports mood stability, memory, clear thinking. Folate and B12 work together in the methylation pathways. That's what your liver does. Your liver has a methylation pathway, and that helps regulate both detoxification and neurotransmitter activity. cod liver oil and fish oil, EPA and DHA. The fish oil, the EPA and DHA in fish oil, which is also in cod liver oil. Cod liver oil has the benefit of additional vitamin A and D in it. Enhances the effectiveness of several natural mood supportive herbs and nutrients. And it does that because that wonderful fat that is in fish oil, cod liver oil, helps the outer casing of the cell to be more flexible, and that improves receptor function. So nutrients can get in and out, neurotransmitters can dock on the cell, hormones can dock on the cell. That's why these types of fats help with so many different things, because it helps every cell function better. It reduces inflammation in the body, and inflammation underlies many mood imbalances. Think of inflammation as static on the screen. You don't feel so good when none of the cells in your body can hear each other very well because of the static on the screen. A suggested dose is 500 to 1,000 milligrams of EPA and DHA daily. That's a very modest dose. You can get a vegan version because the other versions obviously come from fish. The vegan version is algae-based. It's tested for purity, oxidation. You want to make sure it has no heavy metals. You choose a reputable brand that tests for these things. You yourself can do a taste test for rancidity. These are fats that go rancid quickly, so don't leave it in the sun, don't leave it in heat. But when you bite into it, if it tastes rancid, then don't eat it. If it tastes rancid, that means it's oxidized. Often a company will put vitamin E in it, which prevents this from happening. But it should taste, not unpleasant, like usually they're lemony flavored. 5-HTP is derived from an amino acid, tryptophan, and that is something that will help increase serotonin levels. It helps you get a sense of well-being. If you're in a meeting and you feel like I'm not good enough to contribute, that's low self-esteem, that's low serotonin levels. If you can't sleep, if you're having sugar cravings all the time, that could be a sign of low serotonin. So 5-HTP, you can take 50 to 200 milligrams. I know people who take more, but start low and then take a little more if you want to have more of an effect. Take it away from other proteins so that other amino acids don't compete. So take it on an empty stomach or when you've only had carbohydrates or fats. Little caution here. If you're taking pharmaceutical selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRIs, like Prozac, for example, the recommendation is to have some medical guidance. Sometimes 5-HTP can actually help your pharmaceuticals work better. So it's not prohibited. It's just if you have too much serotonin because you're taking two different things that boost your serotonin in different ways, if you have too much, you might feel anxious. So back off if you try it under medical guidance, and that's how you feel. Tyrosine and D-L-phenylalanine, these are two amino acids, and tyrosine is a building block for dopamine, and it supports motivation and focus. It's energizing. You could use it to help you yourself drink less caffeine and have some of that instead. You typically take 500 to 1,000 milligrams in the morning on an empty stomach. And D-L-phenylalanine, the L form and the D form are put together in this D-L-phenylalanine, sometimes just called DLPA. So the L form supports dopamine production. It's a little similar to tyrosine, improves energy and clarity. But the D form, D-phenylalanine, helps boost endorphins, and that reduces both physical and emotional pain. So sometimes you're so upset, it almost feels like your skin is being peeled from your body. That's like terrible emotional pain. Think of how you feel after a breakup or something like that. This can help ameliorate that, both physical and emotional pain. Doesn't it all feel like a drug? It's very mild, but it can make a difference. Suggested dose is 500 to 1,000 milligrams, 1 to 3 times daily. It's too stimulating to take in the evening. And then a little caution, it might be too stimulating for people who have bipolar. I had one client this happened to once, and they just felt a little more anxious, and so they stopped taking it. It's not the end of the world if you find it's not the right thing for you. Do a little bit so you have a small effect, and then you judge how it felt. L-theanine and GABA help you relax. So L-theanine is an amino acid that supports calm alertness. You can take it before bed to help you get to sleep, or you can take it during the day to ease distracting jitters. GABA is also an amino acid that is calm. I find this helpful before a dental visit or public speaking. I actually love public speaking, but sometimes, you feel a little bit exposed or on edge when you're public speaking. And so it can be very helpful. The effect again is mild, but it is enough to make a difference. Acetyl L-carnitine. This is one of my favorites, and I take this one regularly. It supports cellular energy, brain and nerve health. It may improve focus and memory, mental clarity, and mood. And today I was reading a study that showed an improvement in symptoms of depression and pain for people with fibromyalgia. The typical dosage is 500 to 1500 milligrams daily. And the two main ways that I take it is I take it and then I notice that I get through a lot more work without feeling as frustrated or bored. Work that I don't particularly enjoy, that's tedious administrative work. Acetyl L-carnitine helps it go much smoother. And then the other time I use it is when I have to drive at night and I'm tired and I don't want to have caffeine or I'll never sleep that night, but I can take acetyl L-carnitine. It might delay my sleep a bit, but not as much as when I have caffeine. I love acetyl L-carnitine. It's a form of carnitine that supports the mitochondria in the brain so that your brain uses up a lot of energy and it gives those mitochondria in the brain some nutrients to work a little better. Let's switch to talking about herbs now because we've talked a lot about amino acids. Rhodiola rosea is an adaptogenic herb. An adaptogenic herb is a kind of herb that helps you adapt to stress. It supports your energy and promotes a balanced mood. Some people think of it as an antidepressant. It works by modulating neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, and it also supports mitochondria. A typical dosage is 200 to 400 milligrams daily, preferably in the morning. Ashwagandha, the botanical name is Withania somnifera. You hear the insomnia, that same syllable, to let you know that it helps with sleep. So it's also an adaptogenic herb that helps you manage stress, it balances cortisol, it supports your mood, and it promotes restful sleep. You can take it in the suggested dose is 300 to 600 milligrams daily, typically in divided doses. You can take it right before bed and it won't keep you awake, which is different than most other adaptogenic herbs. Also, another difference, and this is the reason why I want to put it here, is that it's safe, considered safe for nursing mothers. But of course, consult your provider. It's an Ayurvedic herb, and it was considered a nourishing thing for a mother. Another really interesting herb is saffron. So this is Crocus sativus, and saffron makes foods yellow and is used, I think of paella in Spanish cooking. But it's one of the few herbs that can be used for mild to moderate depression or anxiety that can be taken with SSRIs with less concern. It does increase serotonin in the brain. It does it by a different way, inhibiting the serotonin transporter. And, while it can be taken with SSRIs, always a good idea to check with your healthcare provider. They know you better as an individual and your history. And so they may be able to do some better guidance there. But generally, it's considered safe to take with antidepressants. Let's just talk about how to choose for quality. I'll just give a couple of tips. If you look at a multivitamin or a B complex and it says folic acid, I wouldn't take that. It's not good enough for you. Folic acid is synthetic. It should say folate or even better, methylfolate, which shows that it's folate in the methylated form. There's about 40% of the population that cannot metabolize folic acid and it can build up. There's a concern that folic acid has been added to processed foods to make them to re-add in some nutrition, but that can cause problems for people who have a genetic inability to properly metabolize it. When you're buying a B complex or a multivitamin, look for something that says folate or methylfolate instead of folic acid. I would consider buying from a practitioner or a health food store that hires educated clerks. A drugstore or big box store will be cheaper, but there really isn't anybody knowledgeable to ask. The truth is that the most expensive supplement is the one that doesn't work. And it wastes time, energy, money to have a bad supplement. And then you don't know if it was because you didn't need it or wasn't the right supplement or because it was a crappy supplement. So buy a good quality one. I'll just add that when you buy from a practitioner like me, you can ask questions about the recommended product and your reactions, which can be so invaluable. Even when things don't work out right, that gives the practitioner more information to understand you better, and they can help explain that to you. Whereas when you buy your supplements from someone that doesn't know you, then you don't have that rapport. That's just one thought of an unexpected benefit when you have supplements from a practitioner. Couple of tips for taking the supplements: organize your supplements in a pill box or a dedicated area of your kitchen counter. Always start at the low dose and observe how you feel for a few days and then increase. After 3 months, 3 months is a good amount of time to try something out. You can check with your practitioner to see if you still need it. Maybe you went to a practitioner, they gave you a bunch of recommendations, and 6 months, a year, you're still taking it. You haven't gone back to that practitioner. You really don't know if you still need it. Some things are not meant to be taken long term. So, in closing, I just want to say I'm open to receiving your questions about supplements. If I can help you, obviously, with my clients, I'm able to understand them better because we've done work together. This topic of mood and supplements, mood and nutrition, is very dear to my heart. So please let me know what your thoughts are. And I'm so glad that we had this time together.
I hope this information was helpful. Feel free to reach out to me if you want more one-on-one support. I know everybody is really different, how they feel, how they respond to stressors, how they respond to the supplements. And so I'm happy to hear your story too. I know that you have so much to offer the world. You know as well that when bad moods dampen your spirit, oh, it's so hard to offer your best. So I really hope that you find good ways to feel more cheerful, feel more happy, really face the things that are making you upset and overcome them. It's possible. There's hope for that. This is one step towards a sense of empowerment. I wish you all the best.